Picture this. It's July 2002. Women across the country wake up and turn on the morning news. And suddenly, every channel is reporting the same story. Hormone replacement therapy, the medication millions of women are taking for menopause, might cause cancer and heart attacks. Within weeks, millions of women stopped taking their hormones. Doctors stopped prescribing them. And for the next 20 years, women struggled through menopause symptoms, often told there was nothing that could be done. But here's what makes this story so important. That study, the one that changed everything, didn't tell the whole story. Critical details were missed, important nuances were lost. And now, in 2024, the FDA has done something remarkable. They've removed the black box warning from hormone replacement therapy. After more than 20 years, they're saying we have better information now. The picture is more nuanced than we thought. I'm Amy Mewborn, and welcome to the Living Simpler podcast. Today, we're talking about one of the biggest changes in women's health in decades. We're going to break down what happened, what the science actually shows, and most importantly, what this means for you and your health. This is about understanding your options, having good information, and making choices that work for your life. So let's simplify this together. Before we dive into what changed and why, let's start with the basics. What is hormone replacement therapy, and why do women consider it? As women move through their late 40s and early 50s, their ovaries gradually produce less estrogen and progesterone. These hormones have been doing a lot more than just regulating periods. They're involved in temperature regulation, sleep quality, mood, memory, bone strength, heart health, and vaginal health. When these hormones decline during menopause, many women experience symptoms. And I want to be really clear about this. These symptoms are real, they're common, and they genuinely affect quality of life. Hot flashes aren't just feeling a little warm. For many women, they're intense waves of heat that happen multiple times a day, often disrupting work, social situations, and sleep. Night sweats can mean waking up drenched, needing to change your sheets multiple times every night. When you're not sleeping well, everything else gets harder. Many women describe brain fog, difficulty concentrating, forgetting words, feeling like their mind isn't as sharp as it used to be. This can be scary, especially for women who've always been sharp and capable. There's also vaginal dryness that can make sex uncomfortable, mood changes, joint pain, and bone density loss that increases fracture risk over time. These symptoms aren't trivial. They affect work, relationships, confidence, and overall well-being. Hormone replacement therapy works by replacing the hormones your body used to make. For many women, it relieves these symptoms effectively. The goal is simple: help you feel more like yourself again. In the 90s and early 2000s, HRT was commonly prescribed. Doctors saw it as helpful for symptoms and potentially protective for bones and heart health. Women generally felt good on it. Then came the Women's Health Initiative study results in 2002. This large government-funded study reported that women taking hormone therapy had increased risks of breast cancer, heart attacks, strokes, and blood clots. The media coverage was dramatic. The message was clear and scary. Hormones are dangerous. The response was swift. Prescriptions dropped by about 80%. Many women who'd been doing well on HRT stopped taking it, and many women who were struggling with symptoms were told hormones were too risky. For the next 2 decades, women often went without effective treatment for menopause symptoms. The prevailing advice became just manage as best you can. But as researchers looked more carefully at the study over the years, they realized the picture was more complicated than those initial headlines suggested. So let's talk about the Women's Health Initiative study, what it was, what it actually showed, and what we've learned since. The WHI was a large study that started in 1991 involving over 27,000 women. It was designed to answer an important question: does hormone therapy prevent heart disease in postmenopausal women? In 2002, One part of the study was stopped early because the data suggested increased risks. The study reported small increases in certain health problems, specifically about 8 additional cases of breast cancer per 10,000 women per year. Similar small increases in heart events, strokes, and blood clots. The study also showed benefits, fewer hip fractures and less colon cancer, but those benefits got much less attention. Here's where things get really important. Over the past 20 years, researchers have looked much more carefully at this study, and they've learned several crucial things. First, the age of the women in the study really mattered. The average participant was 63 years old. Many were in their 70s. Most were more than a decade past menopause. Some hadn't had a period in 20 years. Only a tiny percentage were in their 50s, which is when most women actually go through menopause and would typically start HRT. Why does age matter so much? Because starting hormones right around menopause appears to be very different from starting them many years later. It's about timing. When researchers looked specifically at the younger women in the study, those in their 50s who started HRT closer to menopause, they actually showed reduced risks for heart disease and lower overall mortality. They were healthier, not less healthy. This is called the timing hypothesis, or window of opportunity. Starting HRT near menopause, when your body is just beginning to adjust to lower hormones, appears to be protective. Starting it much later may not have the same benefits. Second, the type of hormones studied matters. The WHI used one specific combination, Premarin and Provera, formulations that aren't commonly prescribed anymore. The study didn't look at bioidentical estradiol, which is chemically identical to your body's natural estrogen. It didn't look at bioidentical progesterone. It didn't look at patches or gels, only pills. Today, we know that different hormone formulations and different delivery methods have different effects on the body. Patches and gels, for example, bypass the liver and appear to have lower clotting risks than pills. But the original warnings applied to all hormone therapy, as if it was all the same. It's not. Third, the way risk was communicated created unnecessary fear. Headlines talked about a 26% increased risk of breast cancer. That sounds terrifying, but in absolute terms, we're talking about 8 additional cases per 10,000 women per year. To put that in perspective, being overweight or drinking alcohol regularly increases breast cancer risk more than that. The point isn't that the risk is zero. It's that the risk is smaller than many women understood it to be, and it needs to be weighed against the benefits for each individual woman. Over the past 20 years, more research has continued to paint a clearer picture. Multiple studies have shown that for women who start HRT around the time of menopause, roughly within 10 years, or before age 60, the benefits generally outweigh the risks for most women. So what happened after that 2002 study? How did it affect women's health care? In 2003, the FDA added a black box warning to all hormone therapy products. A black box warning is the strongest warning the FDA can put on a medication. It's meant for serious risks. This warning applied to every hormone product, pills, patches, gels, all of it. It essentially said, these are dangerous. Use only as a last resort for the shortest time possible at the lowest dose. The impact was significant. Many doctors stopped prescribing HRT altogether. Others became very hesitant about it. Medical schools stopped teaching much about menopause management. A generation of physicians trained with very limited knowledge about hormone therapy. Women who were suffering from severe menopause symptoms often couldn't get the help they needed. Many were offered alternatives like antidepressants for hot flashes, which helped some women a little, but didn't address the underlying hormone changes. Many women were simply told, this is just part of aging, you have to deal with it. The message many women internalized was that their suffering didn't matter enough, or that wanting relief from symptoms was somehow unreasonable. But throughout these 20 years, menopause specialists kept learning and kept advocating. Medical societies like the North American Menopause Society looked carefully at the research and published guidelines saying, for many women, especially those starting HRT near menopause, the benefits likely outweigh the risks. These expert voices were important, but they were often drowned out by the warning label on every package and the fear that had taken hold. And then something started shifting. In recent years, women have begun talking more openly about menopause. Social media, books, podcasts. Women started sharing their experiences and refusing to stay silent about their struggles. At the same time, the research evidence kept accumulating, consistently showing that the original panic was overblown, especially for younger women starting HRT appropriately. Which brings us to the present moment. In 2025, the FDA announced they're removing the broad black box warnings from hormone therapy products. This is significant. The FDA is acknowledging several important things. The warnings were based on a study that used hormones most doctors don't prescribe anymore in women who were older than typical HRT candidates. The warnings contributed to widespread fear and led to significant underuse of a therapy that could have helped many women. The risks are not as high as previously thought, especially for younger, healthier women starting therapy around menopause. Different hormone products have different risk profiles and should have different, more specific labeling. So what does this actually mean? It means the labeling will now be more accurate and specific. A bioidentical estradiol patch will have different safety information than an oral medication. The information will reflect what we actually know about each specific product. It means doctors should feel more comfortable having conversations about HRT. This dangerous message is being replaced with, let's look at your individual situation. It means women who could benefit from HRT will hopefully have better access to it. Importantly, this doesn't mean HRT is risk-free or right for everyone. Specific risks will still be noted on labels. For example, if you have a uterus, you need progesterone with your estrogen to protect against uterine cancer. That hasn't changed. The change is about moving from fear-based blanket warnings to individualized, informed decision-making. Some medical experts have expressed concerns about removing the warnings. They worry that we might swing too far in the other direction and not adequately discuss risks with certain groups of women, like those with a history of breast cancer or blood clots. These concerns are valid. We always need to balance benefits and risks carefully. Medicine works best when we avoid extremes, neither overprescribing nor underprescribing, but individualizing care. The goal is to give you good information so you can make the choice that's right for you. So let's get practical. What does this mean for you? If you're experiencing menopause symptoms that are bothering you, hot flashes, night sweats, sleep problems, brain fog, mood changes, vaginal dryness, hormone therapy is worth considering and discussing with your doctor. You don't have to meet some threshold of suffering to deserve help. If your symptoms are affecting your quality of life, that matters. HRT tends to work best and have the most favorable benefit-risk profile for women who are under 60 or within 10 years of menopause, experiencing bothersome symptoms, in generally good health. It's especially important for women who go through menopause early, before age 40 or between 40 and 45, because hormone therapy helps protect bone and heart health when menopause happens young. Some situations require extra careful consideration. History of breast cancer may still be possible in some cases, but needs specialist involvement. History of blood clots or clotting disorders, certain heart conditions, unexplained vaginal bleeding, active liver disease. Extra consideration doesn't automatically mean no. It means having thorough conversations with knowledgeable doctors about your specific situation. Let's talk about what's available now, because the options are more sophisticated than what was studied in that 2002 research. For estrogen, most doctors now prescribe bioidentical estradiol, chemically identical to what your body naturally makes. It comes as pills, patches, gels, or vaginal rings. Many doctors prefer patches or gels because they bypass the liver and appear to have lower clotting risks than pills. You apply them to your skin once or twice a week for patches or daily for gels. If you still have your uterus, you likely need progesterone along with estrogen to protect your uterine lining. You can use bioidentical progesterone, which research suggests may be gentler on breast tissue, or synthetic progestins. There's also local vaginal estrogen for women whose main concerns are vaginal dryness, painful sex, or urinary symptoms. This comes as creams, tablets, or rings applied directly to vaginal tissue. Very little gets absorbed into your bloodstream, so it's extremely safe and very effective for local symptoms. Now, how do you have this conversation with your doctor? Here's a simple way to start. I've been learning about the FDA's recent changes to hormone therapy labeling. I'm experiencing X, Y, and Z, and I'd like to discuss whether HRT might be appropriate for me. Be specific about how symptoms are affecting you. Instead of "I'm having hot flashes," try "I'm having hot flashes 15 times a day that are disrupting my work, and I'm waking up with night sweats 3 times a night." If you are concerned about HRT, some good questions to ask your doctor: based on my health history, what are my specific risk factors? What type of hormone therapy might work best for my situation? Can we discuss bioidentical options and transdermal delivery? What should I expect in terms of timeline for feeling better? If your doctor seems uncomfortable discussing HRT or isn't familiar with current guidelines, it's okay to seek a second opinion or find a menopause specialist. The North American Menopause Society website, menopause.org, has a directory of certified menopause practitioners. Finding the right doctor matters. You deserve someone who's current on the research and willing to have thorough conversations about your options. When you start HRT, here's generally what to expect. Hot flashes and night sweats often improve within a few weeks. Sleep usually improves fairly quickly as night sweats decrease. Mood and cognitive symptoms may take a couple of months. Vaginal symptoms improve over several weeks. It might take some adjusting to find the right dose or formulation for you. That's normal. Your doctor will want to follow up with you after a few weeks or months to see how you're doing and whether any adjustments are needed. And remember, HRT works best as part of an overall approach to health, along with good nutrition, regular movement, stress management, quality sleep, and staying connected with people you care about. Let's wrap up with what's most important to take away from all of this. The Women's Health Initiative study had limitations that weren't fully understood initially. The women in it were older than typical HRT users, and the hormones studied aren't what we commonly use today. When we look at the right group, women starting HRT near menopause, the picture looks much more favorable. The FDA removing the black box warning is good news. It means the medical community is acknowledging that the broad warnings caused harm by preventing many women from accessing helpful treatment. It's a step toward better, more individualized care. The science now shows that for most women who start HRT appropriately around the time of menopause in good health, the benefits outweigh the risks. But it's not one size fits all. It requires individual assessment based on your health history, your symptoms, and your values. You have more options now than women have had in 20 years. Modern formulations are more sophisticated. Doctors are becoming more comfortable with prescribing. The fear that dominated for 2 decades is finally lifting. Here's what you can do. If you're struggling with menopause symptoms, know that you have options. You don't have to just endure if there's something that could help. Have a conversation with your doctor. Come prepared with information about your symptoms and how they're affecting your life. Ask good questions if needed. Seek out a menopause specialist who's current on the research. Make decisions that feel right for you. Some women will choose HRT. Some will prefer other approaches. Some will use hormones for a while and then stop. There's no single right answer. There's what works for you. Share information with other women. So many women are struggling quietly, not knowing what options exist. When we talk openly about menopause and share what we're learning, we help each other. Remember that your quality of life matters. Wanting to feel good, to sleep well, to think clearly, to be comfortable in your body. None of that is asking too much. For 20 years, many women were told that suffering through menopause was somehow safer or more natural than treating it. We now know that the fear behind that message was overblown. You deserve accurate information. You deserve to understand both the benefits and the risks. You deserve doctors who will work with you to find solutions that fit your life. This FDA decision is significant because it represents a shift toward better, more nuanced women's healthcare. It's not about saying hormones are perfect or right for everyone. It's about moving away from fear and toward informed choice. If you're in menopause or approaching it, you're living in a better time for options than women had even 5 years ago. The conversation is changing. The research is clearer. The stigma is lifting. Take that information and use it. Talk to your doctor. Educate yourself. Make choices that support your well-being. You deserve to feel good. You deserve to thrive, not just survive through this transition. The science supports that now. The medical community is catching up, and hopefully, this means better care and better quality of life for women moving forward. Thanks for being here with me today on the Living Simpler podcast. If this information was helpful, please share it with a woman in your life who might need to hear it. And remember, you're not alone in this journey, and you have more options than you might realize. Take care of yourself. You're worth it.